Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Friday afternoon Zoom edition. Good to be back with you folks. Took about a week off for self-indulgent birthday practices and some other various activities. So it feels good to have you guys back on a Zoom call. And in my absence, Bitcoin decided to jet. I mean, it took off, broke 30K, broke 31, then sort of drifting sideways this afternoon on a chill Friday. So that's exciting stuff. Let's go to the chart and see if we can pick up some day trades this weekend. Okay, should be seeing, actually, let's put that on Bitcoin, my day chart. You guys see that? Would be helpful if someone said yes or no because I rambled on without showing the right chart a week or two ago, and I don't want to do that again.
Yes, yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Patrick. All right, so here we are on the day chart, and we got a great pump from since last week. Up 25%. That's nuts for Bitcoin. So we're loving that. And the altcoins were a little slow to join, but they have. So they've moved up nicely too in the last couple of days. And this is interesting too. Bitcoin Cash has shot up too like crazy. This happens sometimes when Bitcoin makes a move. People look at some of the Bitcoin forks, decide to buy those just because they're cheaper. I think it's sort of a what did Patrick call something like this before? A self-fulfilling prophecy. People think, well, that's kind of like Bitcoin. I'll buy that, and then enough people think like that, and then it goes up. So anyway, it's been a good week for Bitcoin. Ethereum looks pretty good too. Yeah, I don't think it's moved up quite as much. Let's go to the 15th and check that. About 16% looks like. It broke over 1900 twice, but couldn't hold it on a daily close. So we're at 1884 at the moment. Looking good. If we can keep this momentum, maybe have a slight pullback to, I don't know, 1850 for Ethereum and maybe 28.5 for Bitcoin, and then shoot up, break through 30, and maybe look for 32 or 35. I think that would be the nice start of a potential bull run. Or it's not a breakout, it's a fake out. Time will tell this weekend and early next week. We've had some pretty good news in the financial world, and that BlackRock and some larger institutions are looking to create Bitcoin ETFs, which allow people who belong to those institutions and maybe to some degree even retail traders. I'm not sure exactly how those work, but easier access to Bitcoin. They buy Bitcoin, and the regulators in the U.S. seem to be reluctantly chill with Bitcoin. They view it more as a commodity like gold, but man, they really hate the other cryptos and they really hate the stable coins. So, um, yeah, I watched a really good video. Crypto Man Ran interviewed Michael Saylor. Craig from our group made it available to me, and it was an outstanding 1 hour. I was riveted the whole time, and I have the attention span of a squirrel when it comes to things like that. But I found it really interesting. So guys, check it out. If I can dig up I posted it on another group I'm in. So if one of you guys can find it in the K2 group and put it in the chat, that would be helpful. That's about all I have to offer on the market overall. Anybody have any questions, comments, or wild speculations before we look for some day trades? Okay, the crowd is quiet. Then we will go to Altcoin Alert and see what we can do for tonight and this weekend. Ordinarily, I'm focused on shorts, but with the way the market's been pumping, you might want to do shorts and longs. And if you're doing shorts, you might want to go in with less than usual or employ a stop loss as opposed to multiple ladder buys or some combination thereof. But we'll start from the beginning. We're here on Altcoin Alert. I'm on the altcoin radar setting. First sort I like to do is the AA score. And I'm going to see what shows up earlier today. Yeah, a bunch of values over 80. As you know, that's my preference. When I'm looking for longs or coins that are active, I'm looking for values above 80, and we haven't had many of those this year. But man, this last couple days, we've had a bunch of them. So I did look at Beam briefly. It doesn't trade on exchanges I like to use, but Quantum I have traded before. It's an older project, but it's got a really good AA score of 81.4. It's had a 5+% move today, and I've got the chart handy at the moment. So let's check it out. We're on the 5-minute, and we got all the way up to almost 250, about 248, and a little drop since then, about 3 to 4%. So has this been played out? Could be. Could be it's dipping for a better entry. I see some support here, about 233. And again, multiple touches here. Actually, let's go with the zones as opposed to the, yeah, a little zone here would be a one. Well, that's where it is now, actually. My bad. Yeah, this would be a better one. So there's one zone, and the other one's pretty close to that. Right about here. Move that up a little bit. So one or both of these would be a place to put a price order or a price alert, something like this. Let's say on the second value, add an alert, 230, and this would be, I call this an AA score alert because that's my information source. And then you're good to go on that one. Okay. But I prefer alerts on indicators. So we will go, and on the 15-minute chart. So we'll go over there and see what we can do. All right. Quantum. Let's start with divergence first. Divergence, as you may recall, is a disagreement between the indicators and a price action. Does have some predictive value. I was looking at this earlier, and both directions look really good. So, for example, this one here, Wednesday, caught that bullish divergence, made a 4% move. Then this bearish one here, dropped almost 2%, bounced up a little bit, then dropped again. So this one here could have been problematic from yesterday, last night. But the way I trade, I would have taken a ladder buy at the 2% going against me. Then it drops down here. I probably would have gotten out in this vicinity, with a small loss in my first position, but a nice profit on my second. And then the other two bearish divergences just dropped down and did really well. So be advised, this particular indicator, divergence from any indicators version 4 that I use, does repaint, which means some of this back testing I'm doing here can be a bit deceptive because if it gets new information, it'll keep moving, which is why I like this non-repaint version as a backup. So most likely this one you see here probably triggered down here. So it would have gone up and then down. Still would have been a good trade, but not as good as this chart shows. I think it's worth it to use this indicator because it's so alert friendly. So I can right click on this, on my negative. So my bearish divergence, I can choose that once per bar close. That's going to stay on until I turn it off. This is going to be an AA score purchase. And I'm going to go ahead and I got to check my notifications. Yeah, I was doing something automated earlier in the day. So I got to turn off my webhook. And then I'm going to notify in the app, just on my TradingView app on my phone, show a pop-up on my computer, and it's going to play a sound. And for divergence, I use 3 notes reverb, create, and then I'm good to go for my bearish divergence. I have to set a separate alert for bullish. So I'm going to right click again. I'm going to drop this down to positive, once per bar close, AA score. And I've got alerts going both directions now on Quantum on the 15-minute chart. Sometimes this will, when you get a bearish or bullish divergence, it can be indicative of a 1, 2, 3 dip, which is a strategy I like a lot. And I'll talk more about that a little later. So that's divergence. If you want to trade with the trend, divergence is contrarian. You're trying to catch dips and pullbacks. But the super trend, you're trading with the trend. The trend is your friend. So the sell back from Wednesday eventually did okay. It would have taken a ladder buy to get out of that one. The buy alert, I'm usually looking for I trade on leverage, so I'm looking for a 1% move on 10x leverage, either direction usually. So a 1% move is what I'm looking for. If you're trading spot, then you're going to want to look at just the buys, and you're probably going to want to get more than 1%, maybe 2 to 3%. But even on this, had you missed, we just set for a 2% move eventually, you would have gotten out here at 2% and you wait a little longer. You get out here at 3%, takes about a day and a half. All right, so your options on this indicator, the super trend, right click on it, add an alert, and you can go with the buy alert, which is what you would use if you're doing spot trades. Or if you want to go short only, then you go with the sell. This is what I use most of the time, direction change. I'm going to trade each direction. And then again, that's going to be an AA score purchase. Click create and you're off. But I like what I see better on the divergence, so I'm going to stick with that alert that I already set. So I'm not going to use that one. Okay. And then the final strategy I like is using the RSI to try to catch dips and pumps. Similar to divergence, but the alerts don't go off as often. And it usually takes a bigger move, a bigger retrace, or a bigger pump to set off this alert. So what I'm looking for on the short side is a pump over the 70 value, which is considered overbought, and then a dip below. So when that happens, there's a pretty good chance it's going to dip that 1% I'm looking for. Not always, but frequently. And then on the long side, I want it to drop below 30 and then come back up. And a lot of times it'll be in a dip sequence, recovering from a dip sequence when my alert goes off. So let's look at a couple past ones. Get my horizontal line. Okay, we have a pump and a cross right about here. So that one would have taken us on a bit of a ride, probably a ladder buy here, and then a drop. And I would have been out probably around here in about 4 hours with a break even, give or take, on my first position and a nice profit on my second. A similar situation with the next one. Yeah, if I don't get that one, if I get it this one, I catch that one right about here. And yeah, I get my 1% and I'm good shape on that one. And another one here, makes a nice move down. We don't quite catch the pump on that one, or the dip, I mean. We do get a dip here. And so, yeah, I probably would have gotten in right about here. And in this one a little longer than I would like. So yeah, get my 1% around 17 hours. And then more pumps here with a drop. And well, I'm not going to show every one of them, but most of these would have maybe required additional purchases and then gotten out where this drops. So I kind of like the RSI on this. Let me get rid of that. And so if you want to trade both directions, let's go spot trading first. So if you want to use this on spot trading, right click on the RSI. You want to cross up on the 30. Once per bar close. And again, that's an AA score purchase. If you want to trade both directions, well, if you want to trade it down, because there are a bunch of pumps and dips, then you go crossing down on the 70. And there you go. Now, as I mentioned earlier, and I think this chart supports it, let's trade both directions. So we're going to enter a channel in this scenario. Our 70 is going to be the top value, bottom value 30, once per bar close, and then that's our RSI. Click create, and this stays until you turn it off. I think I'm going to stick with my divergence alerts though, so I'm not going to take this one. Okay, well, I went over that in some detail. Any questions on quantum about the 3 different trading options? Very well, let's look for another one. Okay, I'll go a little faster on the next 2. So I like this 1-hour trading range, but the only value that intrigues me is this VGX Voyager thing. It seemed to have a negative. I think this company went bankrupt or something, or am I confusing it with something else? Let's go on the 5-minute first. Kind of sideways. Did make a nice move here, the wee hours. On the 15-minute, got some support down here at 11.36. Again here, just below, right around 12 cents. So those could be potential entries. Is on Binance. This one might be, yeah, it's on Coinbase too. So yeah, you could trade this as a spot trade. Okay, if you want to go with divergence, I don't know if you can trade this leveraged as a short. So we're just going long on this, but all the long divergences did really well. So I think this would be a potential good candidate for that, though we haven't had long divergence go off since yesterday morning. So when I see that, I'm thinking maybe the super trend would be better. The last 3 buys on super trend did well, so that could be an option as well. And then we don't have any that broke the 30. So if you want to set an alert on RSI and fudge a little, and maybe use a value of 33, or yeah, you have to go up to 35 to catch some of these dips. I think that's pushing it, but 33 to 35 would be an option. Right click, add your alert, crossing up on 33. That's how you do that.
I'm gonna stick with the French fries. Those were,
okay, I gotta mute somebody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so definitely.
All right. Our mysterious K had a little background noise. No worries. Let's go back to where I was. Okay, VGX. I think I was done with that one. Any questions on this potential spot trade? Okay, well, should we look for a short in light of this weekend? Well, wait, the market is dipping down a bit, so let's look at that real quick. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. Yeah, Bitcoin's dropped. Yeah, almost 3% since this morning. So maybe it's going to drop and then take off like I discussed earlier, or maybe we were faked out. So again, I think that it could be worthwhile to plan some short trades, or at least one. So let's go to Altcoin Alert, and we're going to reverse sort this. And I like to use the long-term sentiment for that. Sentiment is what people are talking about on Twitter. I like to match that up with the Elder Impulse Daily, which is a technical indicator. And when the two are in agreement, I like to look at that further. So we got Zcash up almost 10% today, but Altcoin Alert's not buying it, so it's bearish on both the long term and the elder impulse. Got another match on Doge. I love shorting Doge. I'm gonna look at that one. Let's look at Doge. Who wants to short Doge? I know I do. All right, on the 5-minute. So instead of looking for support, we're looking for resistance, and I see that here right around 7 cents, give or take. I'm sorry, 0.697, right around here. Some more resistance here at 6869. So those are two potential areas to set price alerts if you don't want to deal with indicators. But I like dealing with indicators. So on the 15-minute chart, look at divergence. And we're looking for bearish divergence. We want to short something. And the last few done pretty well. This one kind of took us on a ride. This one, yeah, it's easy to catch 1% moves off bearish divergence. So I'm going to set my alert. Negative's already there. Once per bar close, long-term sentiment. And my notification's good. And that is going to be my short for tonight. Okay, but while we're here, let's check out SuperTrend. Maybe it's better. We had 2 sell alerts. Both did okay, but again, more signals with the divergence, which is normal. So I like divergence a little better than SuperTrend. On the RSI, let's go with our vertical line and across here. Probably a ladder buy, and then maybe I'll probably get out here with one additional purchase. Another drop here. That's a better entry than the first one. And I got another cross here. That's a really good one. Got here on the long side. That's eventually good, but I'm focused on shorts at the moment. This one did not reach 30, and I don't think it's worth cheating on. And then this one would have been, it had some drama on this. So you're probably getting right about here, goes up, and then comes back down again. So you're in it for about 5 hours with 2 positions. So all 3 strategies look good on this. But I like the divergence, so I'm going to stick with that. Any questions on Doge or anything else you guys want to look at? We probably have time for one more if you guys want to look at another one. No, CJ, you pick another one. Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and do that. Let's do a sort we haven't done in a while. The AA score and the long-term sentiment are my go-tos. We were doing social activity for a while. I thought that was kind of overlapping. Sentiment and the elder impulse, they're sort of similar. But this is another one you can do. If you get fire and a thumbs up in the same, in the same row here, that's usually worth looking at some more. We've got that here with CFX. I think I've traded that before. DFI. Dusk. Dusk has been interesting. That's an old school project, but it's been moving lately. So let's go ahead and look at Dusk. Okay, on the 5-minute. Had a pump this morning, about 12%, but gave over half of it back. So it's not a bad, this could go into a dip sequence, but I'm not seeing really much of a bubble here. And we want to squeeze in a bubble on a 1, 2, 3 dip sequence, and there's not much volume, so we'll see. I'm seeing support here if you want to get in on a long position right around 12.25 cents. So that might be a good price alert. On our indicators, the bearish ones did pretty good. They did well. Yeah. All these were in profit, so I like that. And all the bullish ones did well too. Huh. I think I may have found my second. I think I'm going to look at this both directions. And this is our social activity sort, yes. On once per bar close, and yeah, 3 notes reverb. So I'll do that one on the short side, and I'll do it on the long side too. Positive divergence, once per bar close, social activity sort. And there we go. So I like that. But let's look at SuperTrend as well. And yeah, it's getting kind of bogged down in here. So like this last sell would not have been, these last two sells, maybe not. Get in perfectly here. Maybe. No. All right, don't like SuperTrend on this. And then RSI. That makes a nice move down there. All right, that one's good. This drops and then pumps up. That's good. This pumps and then drops. Good stuff. Like what I'm seeing so far. I think that would have triggered on a 30. Maybe not. Nah, it just would have missed. So maybe you go with the 31 instead of 30 on this one. And similar situation here. That would have been a pretty good move down. But I think we just missed it. Yeah. That's at about 69. So in this scenario, maybe go with a 69 and a 31 on your rectangle here. And this one, yeah, this is sort of like the divergence we saw. It would have pumped up first and then dropped. So you had a couple positions on that one, or been stopped out, depending on how you handle your risk management. All right. Any questions on dusk? Okay, we're at about 35 minutes, right in the sweet spot that I like for this. Any questions, comments, or additional coins you want to look at? Just want to hear me talk to myself?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Thanks for confirming that, Tam. I appreciate it. Okay, a little announcement. I'm taking a short vacation, so I will not be here on Monday. I will do this with some frequency this summer because I live in the desert and crazy people live in the desert. We have to get out sometimes. So going up north to Flagstaff where it's cooler and hang out with my sister and nephews. So looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys again a week from today. If you're here for carbon, stick around. We will do that one next. Have a good weekend.